Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of No Competitions on Mondays, because there are no comps on Mondays. We're here today. We weren't planning on doing an episode, but we saw the announcement of the Premier Speedcubing League this weekend, and we really wanted to talk about it. I actually wanted to talk about it sooner, but I kind of did want to wait maybe 24 to 48 hours just to see what everyone else was saying and give our own new opinions and new insights on the project. For any of you guys who don't know, if I could just synthesize or add a summary to it really quickly, it's basically a in-person league where they're going to have a bracket-style tournament at every competition, and it's going to be head-to-head, and it's going to be very more rigorous compared to the WCA's form of competition. So, with that, I also do want to welcome our co-host, Will Clower, today. The only co-host today. He is the only one. He is also the only person to be featured on all of our podcast episodes.
Yes.
So he keeps the streak going. I had to make a tough choice, but I couldn't break the legacy. So, yeah. Okay. So, now with that out of the way, let's talk about how we found out specifically. So, I found out about the Premier Speedcubing League when I was just kind of scrolling for YouTube on Friday, and then I saw this post, and it was like, Speedcubing, this is going to change Speedcubing or whatever. It was some title that was like, okay, I feel like, because I know the people at Speedcubing TV, I know they just wouldn't post this. At first, I didn't really think too much of it. Maybe they were outlining some new technology or something. I click on the video, and then I'm greeted with like this website, and it has like all of this information about tournaments and competitions and everything, and they're really claiming that this is going to change speedcubing. Obviously, I have my thoughts about that, positive and negative, but I also will, if you also want to mention maybe how you found out. Yours is probably less exciting.
No, it definitely is. I woke up, I think, Saturday morning or maybe even yesterday morning to the short 30-second video sort of advertising it, the initial one. I watched it and then proceeded to go about my day because I was very busy.
Yeah.
And didn't really talk to anyone about it. But
yeah,
this
that was
morning
also a thing.
this morning I also got the StuCube video recommended to me, which I did not watch. But I have now taken a good look at the website just here a couple hours before the podcast. So I'm ready with my initial thoughts and opinions.
That's gonna be exciting to hear. So I did actually watch the StuCube video yesterday. I also watched the Michael Chai video. Michael Chai is the CEO of this, by the way. We'll talk about that later too. Yeah, so I watched those two videos. The other one, the latter of which, was about like 30 minutes. It was a pretty long watch, but there was some information there that I'm actually it kind of surprised me a little bit. So here's how we're going to structure the podcast today. It's going to be less conventional. If you guys want more conventional episodes, you can catch everything else before this, but I really think this is a really important topic to discuss that's worthy of one episode. We are going to discuss this in multiple parts. So my history teacher, my A-push history teacher, always told me, if you want to give someone a bunch of feedback, you give all the lesser, maybe less than positive feedback first, and then you start building them up with positive feedback and comments. And I think that's really important because I do love the idea of this. Maybe my faults are within the execution, but we can talk about that in the next section. And then at the end, we'll summarize everything and we'll package it all up, and maybe we'll talk more about the future of cubing there, just beside the PSL too. But anyway, the Premier Speedcubing League, which from now on I'm going to shorten to PSL because it is a very, very lengthy competition name. The PSL is going to be hosting its first tournament on March 16th, 2025 in Berkeley, California. There are currently 7 people registered. Now, this is supposed to be a 64 person tournament, and it's going to be single elimination. They're going to be competing and head to head, probably best of 5 or best of 3 or whatever. And yeah, that's the basic idea. And then once it boils down to the top 8, only those top 8 will be live streamed. So you're not going to be able to watch the 64. You'll only be able to watch the top 8 in the live stream. And then it goes on from there, and then there's a winner. And I think there's a prize pool of the winner gets $1,000, I think, which is very impressive. I am very interested in how they got that many. Maybe they could slide it over to us. But no. Okay, so that's the main gist of it. There are some logistics in there, though, that I'm a little bit confused by. So, if you're wondering about the registration fees for this competition, there are a couple of options. So, if you want to compete, which is what I'm assuming you would want to do if you're kind of listening to this podcast as a cuber, your competition ticket is $75 for the whole day, which is a bit steep. I think that is very steep, actually, for a one day. There is World's registration was like $120, and that's like split over 4 days.
Yeah.
And that's only for the standard competitor ticket. If you want to go to the VIP competitor ticket, that's $90. But you'll also get a PSL t-shirt, a cube mat, and an exclusive PSL athlete trading card. We can talk about how I think about that later on. If you're also, that's only if you're above 18. If you're not 18, you actually have to pay more. You have to pay $95, which is $5 more than the VIP experience if you're over 18. So it's a really weird ticketing system. And the VIP competitor ticket is $110. The only added on plus is that you get a parent or a guardian to come with you, which is, so they get a free ticket, I guess, but also the spectator fee is $35 per person, which I think also banks on the fact that a lot of people that go to these competitions, maybe they go with their mom and their dad, or their dad and their mom, or they bring their aunt, their uncle, maybe the sibling. And when you think about it, when you have all those, okay, let's just do a normal family. Mom, dad, brother, that's like 3 people. Okay, maybe the mom gets the +1. Okay, so the dad and the brother, you have to pay $70 more to go inside. $70. And that's in addition to the $95 competitor ticket. And what if, maybe you're an adult and maybe your mom, dad, and your brother want to come watch you. Now that's an additional like $105. So that's a lot. I don't know how you think about that. What do you think about that, Will? But I think that's a lot of money.
So yeah, I think some of this goes toward paying for the venue, and it would be higher because it's a smaller competitor limit. But I think also some of it goes to the prize pool.
That's also
where
true, yeah.
they get that 1,000 for the winning competitor or something. I personally would not be willing to spend this amount of money to compete or even spectate. I can go to a local competition and have the time of my life for, $15, $20, whatever high schools charge for their venues. And I just don't see it as worth it, even though it is a brand new system for a double elimination and so on. Like, I've never spent $70 on like a singular puzzle before. Like,
I'm unfortunately not able to say the same. I've spent a pretty hefty amount of money. I've never gone past 100. Wait, let me show you. The Super Way Long. I don't know where I have it right now. But that is the most expensive cube I've ever bought, and it was just under $100 right here. So,
okay.
Yikes.
Well, anyway, I think the pricing is steep, not only from like I don't want to be like, how do I want to phrase this? Like, if you are trying to get people to come to this brand new system and like you're going to keep having these competitions and you're trying to grow your viewership and your competition like competitor pool, I guess you could say, for these competitions. And maybe most people can go to like one, but like, can you imagine trying to go to like 3 or 4 of these?
It's really
That's like
hard. Yeah.
that's like $400.
I,
Like,
I I
I
also maybe the justification for that is that they're less frequent than WCA competitions, because when you think of WCA competitions, you could very reasonably, if you go to an area with a lot of delegates and a lot of competitions, you could go to a competition every week for a good amount of time, maybe even months.
guess
But
maybe that's pretty, it's like somewhat common in like California or something like
it's
that,
common
or
up
maybe even
in, I think, this area, the Mid Atlantic area.
New York as
Um,
well. But like, I don't know. I think if you're trying to retain competitors, this is not the way to do it. I mean, I
yeah.
understand like viewership is different because like live stream is kind of free once it reaches top 8. So maybe not retain viewership necessarily, but whatever term it would be for retaining your competitor pool, I think this is just not a good idea
Yeah,
in terms of pricing. Maybe raise it later along the line when you have a whole bunch of people, but
I
starting out like
think
this
the
is
pricing would be, I shouldn't say fine. I think it would be okay if it was like once a year. I think it would be okay, but I would have to be really, really convinced to go.
right. Well, because this
But
is like a similar price to majors, nationals and worlds,
yeah,
which
but even
it's
majors
like
do not
those are
charge
one.
$20 for a, or even majors do not charge
No,
$35 for a ticket. The most expensive, I think, Worlds is only charging like either 10 or 20. I
I
know
don't remember.
NAC charged 10, I think, if you got them early enough, and then I think they got maybe a little bit more expensive at the door. But even with that, I do believe I don't think you get a spectator pass. Um, no, you don't. I remember you had to yeah, you have to buy the spectator pass if you're going to Worlds this year. But yeah, it doesn't sit right with me for some reason. And the price, I think, in my opinion, is a bit inflated too. When you think about the benefits that you're getting, okay, the normal WCA fee covers the necessity. It usually just covers the venue charge. It might cover a microphone, it might cover a live stream, but again, those are necessities. The standard competition pass comes with the competing. It comes with a drawstring bag. It comes with a high quality red carpet photo and an athlete all access, a chance to meet and get tips from some of the fastest speedkeepers in the world. What I think is that I don't necessarily have a problem with enjoying the product. Like if you enjoy meeting with speedkeepers, okay, fine, you could do it. If you think there's a price to that, you can pay it. But consider the alternatives and consider what you're actually getting. Like I don't need the drawstring bag. I don't need the photo. I also don't need to meet the athletes too. I could message them on Discord. I can interact with them through live streams. Heck, I could go to a WCA competition and just ask them questions. So it's a little gimmicky in that way. Um, and then they also have a VIP
Maybe.
pass where,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, okay, I can go for the VIP pass. I don't know if you want. Maybe we could wait for that, and because I know you probably had something to say about.
yeah. I mean, as like a newcomer or something, I think if you go to like worlds or nationals or something, and of course you get to see um, some of the fastest cubers in the entire world, and most of them are usually open to like an autograph or a picture or something like that because it's a very friendly community. Um, Getting tips from them is a weird way of phrasing it. Like this doesn't sound like it would be full on sit down coaching, but also what kind, like I guess just like a
It's
Q and one-on-one kind of just time, but I don't know.
It's a little vague, I will admit. And then so first of all, you only also get that if you're either competing or if you get a VIP spectator pass, which is $65. A VIP spectator pass.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah. Um they also yeah, I think the problem I have with that is just you add those benefits in the competitor pass. You add those benefits in the minor pass, but you're also sort of, who are you appealing to at this point? Are you appealing to the best cubers in the world? Because if you're appealing to the best cubers in the world, then it seems a little counterintuitive to appeal to maybe newcomers that really want to meet their biggest idols. It does, at least in
Right.
that sense. So
And
yeah.
yeah. Also, I wouldn't like if this is one weird comparison I have, but for stuff like major like chess tournaments, usually they invite the players, like the top players,
Yeah.
um, and then they can decide if they want to like come or not. And making like even some of the best in the world like pay rather than invite them for a 64 person competition, which is relatively small for something that you're trying to make like this huge amazing thing where you get to see all your top keepers compete against them. It's just a little confusing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get that it would result in like higher prices for like spectators and such, but I'm not sure.
It feels a little off. And then we could talk about the VIP pass too. Um this is it's a little weird. So for a $25 upcharge on all tickets from what it looks like, you can get a VIP competitor pass, which includes a PSL t-shirt, a PSL cube map, an exclusive PSL athlete trading card. Um okay. So all of those free things, let's like break it down. The t-shirt doesn't cost that much, I think. It only costs like maybe $9 or $10 to produce.
Do they have
And
what?
I don't think they have the design on there either. It's just you get the t-shirt. You
Well, I
also,
mean, we don't know what it looks like yet, but yeah.
yeah. Also the cube mat, I mean it's a good thing, but I find it hard to justify the VIP pass because I could.
The other thing is, sorry, but just very quickly on the T-shirt and cube mat. The other thing is, one of their partners is Speedcube Shop, so I do wonder if those things will go up on Speedcube Shop at some point as well.
I think though the only problem with
As
that
a
is that then they could
promotion.
just buy it on Speedkeep Shop and then they could just get it
That's what I'm
cheaper there.
saying.
So
It's
that would be
like,
very counterintuitive. I wouldn't expect
well, I
them
don't
to
know
make
if it would
that.
be cheaper, but yeah.
And then the trading card, it kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I think it is. I think it feels like something to inflate the price a little bit. It just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know if you agree with me.
Maybe.
Um,
I think it's a weird thing to have for cubing
yeah,
because I mean, of course, we'll get to this later, but this is sort of a push towards a more traditional sports approach, um, where they have stuff like trading cards. But to start out with something like that, when you only have like a handful of PSL athletes at the moment, right?
yeah,
Um, I think that's a strange thing to have for your first competition. I mean, you're getting what, one of two people, three, four. I don't know. Could be more by the time the competition comes out, but
yeah. But the thing about that too is also, oh, sorry, you were talking. So you were talking about like the number of athletes and like the trading card thing is just weird, and the push towards like sports, and that kind of transitions into like the next point where I feel like the PSL is jumping the gun a little bit, like really quickly. I think in all places, to be honest. if we kind of put it all together as to maybe why it doesn't sit right with me. It's just I feel like when you're okay, I'm gonna open up the website. All right, Premier Speedcubing League.org. And when I look at it, I am the first. Okay, so it goes through like the basic stuff, like all right, here's everything we're doing, and then I go with upcoming events, and I'm like, whoa, I have never heard of any of these before. And you get like 5 different events. You have the PSL Berkeley, the PSL San Diego, the PSL Michigan, another unannounced event, and the Speedcubing TV Cup. So that's already so much information about this that I had no idea about as a consumer. So already I felt when I opened that up, I definitely felt confused. When I watched the trailer, I thought this was an online thing. I didn't think this was gonna be like, you know, anything too much bigger than that. And then
Like a monkey league type of thing.
yeah, sort of like that. I was
Okay.
thinking this was like a monkey league thing, and I was like, okay. And then I like click more into it, and they have the buzzwords. They have state of the art innovation and the highest standards, and they have the greatest solves recorded on the Rubik's cube. That's all very vague to me. What is a state of the art statistic? I don't know what that is. Show me what it is. Like when you see how Amazon, I don't know if you guys watch the NFL. I think Will. I don't know if you've been into the NFL recently, but Amazon will show like next gen stats or whatever. They're not gonna like fluff it up and say like, okay, we have next gen stats that are state of the art. They will show you in their commercials like what it is. Like I don't know if you've seen that next gen stat commercial, but they'll show you like what stats they use, like how far like the percent completion rate, or maybe the percent completion rate from this angle or from this angle, the likelihood that you'll make a one-handed catch here, the fourth down conversion rate, how like if you should go for it or not, stuff like that. So when you put into that perspective, I'm confused as a consumer, and I feel like if you're trying to convince people that this is the future of speedcubing, you should give them a very clear line of reasoning. Whenever you
I
write
mean,
anything, yeah,
sorry, but it has only been, to be fair, it has only been like 2 days, so
that's
I'm sure
true.
they've got a bunch more introductory stuff lined up to show us, and like demos and stuff like that. And when it comes to sports, I am a little bit of a stats guy. I do like seeing all the crazy cool stats about stuff. So if it's something like what you're explaining as what Amazon does with NFL, then I'm down for it. But like you said as well, we don't know yet. I don't think it's going to remain that we don't know until the competition. If it
Hopefully,
does,
yeah.
then then I agree with what you're saying. But I think that might be something we have to wait for a little
Okay,
bit.
yeah. That's no, that's fair. Um, yeah. So, yeah. So I guess talking about that, I kind of want to wind down on maybe the criticisms that we're doing, and maybe we could start transitioning into maybe the benefits of what this could look like. So I don't know if that's the direction you want to go. If you have anything else to
That's
say,
fine.
I think you
Yeah,
probably have something else to say. So
just sort of the philosophy of it, because I guess mine is a little bit more against, whereas you like the idea of it. So I guess I can go ahead and explain that while we're wrapping this up. But I mean, of course, what cubing is to people is very subjective. But I've always viewed cubing as, I'm not going to be better than this guy, or I'm not going to be trying to beat this dude in the finals or the next round or whatever. It's more like I'm going to be better than who I was at the last competition. I'm going to push for PRs. Like that's sort of the main motivation is PRs over placement. Typically, I mean, of course, making finals is a thing,
yeah,
and making podiums and such. But at the end of the day, a lot of people's focus is to break PRs. So I think it's maybe this just takes away from that, and you're pinning cubers against each other. Whereas I guess it's a little cheesy to point to, but like in why we cube, they just reference, strive to be better than your former self rather than at the expense of someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I think okay. So I have thoughts about that. Um, Obviously, I think in an ideal world, it it should be like that. And not to say that like if we do turn into this like head to head sort of thing that won't happen anymore. I'm sure like in soccer and in football, basketball, name any sport you want, there are athletes out there looking to push their own limits rather than maybe the limits that the league sets or the limit to win the title or such like that. Um, though I think I think the more it'd be more spectator friendly though if you had those people
Yes.
that would pit against each other, which I don't think is necessarily a good or a bad thing. I guess it's a little bit of a neutral point for me, but I also don't really kind of know if we're ready for that. And I think that's the main argument against it right now.
Well, it's like there aren't for cubing. There aren't really spectators that don't already cube
That's true.
outside of parents, family, and friends, which of course would want to see you do better than yourself rather than other people. But I think it's just we don't have that sort of community like other sports do. Like,
Yeah.
we watch football or basketball, but and maybe some of us go out and play it, in the neighborhood for fun, but it's
Yeah.
like
Wait, we don't.
a
You
lot
don't
of
play like high school basketball or high
the
school
millions
football.
of people that watch the Super Bowl aren't, professional quarterbacks or receivers or stuff like that.
They're
So
not. They're not my boy Patrick Mahomes. No.
it is a different community.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And we can have that discussion about that later. But I do kind of want to go into the benefit of this, and I think that is sort of an inherent benefit that it's head to head. It's more spectator friendly, but obviously there are some drawbacks within those benefits too. Some other things that I really think are interesting as well is I think it's a little um when Michael Chai explained it on the 30-minute talk he did on Speedcubing TV, he wanted this to be like Rubik's Cube conventions. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier in the podcast, but he wanted this to be like a convention. He didn't want this to be a competition. He wants this to be a convention where, of course, you'll have the competing and stuff like that, but there's like vending on the side. There's more stuff for non-competitors to do, which is
I guess yeah,
it's a
that's
very
interesting though because sorry,
you can
that's
go.
interesting though because it's inherently more competitive,
It
the
is
format.
inherently more competitive, but I think he's trying to appeal to both sides, and it's a very ambitious goal. That is a extremely ambitious goal. It has room to fail, as we've sort of mentioned before, but also Michael is very very like he has a strong belief in this project in this program. I know a lot of people online are putting out like, okay, this is gonna die in 1 year, no everyone's gonna forget about it, and that could be very true. That could be true. It could die in 1 year. Maybe we won't hear it again. Maybe we'll be talking about WCA next year, or we could be talking about like the next PSL match in 2 years or something like that. We don't know. I'm not saying either reality is going to happen, but I think seeing that drive is interesting. I know also sort of from a marketing standpoint, it's obviously you can't like maybe doubt your brand like I don't know if it's going to work. It's a very experimental format, and he has to have belief in it, which he has. So in that way, he is qualified. Also, if you don't know too much about Michael Chai, he actually was a WCA delegate. He was a WCA board member, too, and then he I think resigned in October of last year, and he's no longer a delegate anymore. So now he's starting the PSL, and yeah, interesting stuff from the belief side. Also, Speedkeeping TV obviously is the live stream partner. We can do with that, and then there's also I think Twizzle is partnering with them, but Michael really wanted this to be like a more marketable sort of competition.
Mhm. Like more so than WCA competitions.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like he was talking about like I think during like the talk maybe toward the end like he wants like a snack vendor or something. He wants to expand to like non-cubing companies and have like I don't know.
Gotcha,
He
gotcha.
gave the weird example of like Cheetos as a vendor or something, which
Yeah,
is
Cheeto stand. I'm down for a Cheeto stand.
all right. But then like you get Cheetos on your fingers while you solve. But hey,
Yeah, maybe not
yeah,
actually.
maybe
I don't know about that.
I like Cheetos. I love Cheetos as
Okay,
much as the
wait.
next guy.
Hear me out. Open the bag and just down it like that. Nothing on the fingers.
I mean, like, yeah, man, but no. um. Anyway, yeah. So non-vendors. So I think he's also trying to appeal to the non-competitor too, which maybe explains the hefty spectator fee. I'm okay with not like letting them in for free. I think that's fine if you're trying to appeal to the non-competitor because obviously then they shouldn't. Obviously then you're losing a lot of profit there. But
Yeah.
I think especially at the grassroots effort, 35 is a little steep. I think maybe like somewhere in the middle of free and $35 would make more sense in my opinion. Um, I don't know about you, but
I mean, listen, it's to be fair, it's not like these competitions are being held in, the most rural parts of like West Virginia or like Kentucky where it's much harder to scrape up that money.
yeah,
And I think, cubing in general is not the cheapest hobby to get into.
that's true.
But I think your point still stands. Though I think it is like it makes sense from a theoretical perspective to have money for your spectators to pay. I mean that's just like every sporting event really.
Yeah,
I mean even college football games. If you're a student there, it doesn't guarantee that they're free. So
they do get heavy
there's that
discounts though.
element to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. I mean mine are free, but that's because we don't do sports there, really. Uh, but like I was saying before, I just don't know if that fan base really exists in a large enough capacity
I think they should have.
where they wouldn't compete. To where they would choose spectate over compete.
I think the PSL, like I said, I think they are jumping the gun a little bit, just in general. I think that's true, but it's also inspiring as maybe experimental formats. Because if this really works, then we're taking a sharp left on what the WCA was. But obviously the
Right,
WCA still
and
exists, So it's
right.
now
I mean,
we're
in that sense, it does make sense. You know what I'm? Yeah, like plenty of sports have different leagues, and different formats and everything. But you know, I don't want to call WCA a monopoly, but it definitely is like really the only thing to go
I
to. I
think it's
mean,
the only option, not necessarily a
I think
monopoly.
Rubik stopped doing their competitions, right?
Yeah, Red Bull stopped doing theirs too. Um,
Yeah,
I think with Rubik's or with the WCA, it's not a monopoly because we don't feel manipulated. If we were feeling manipulated, then it would be a monopoly. But we like the WCA competitions. Like we're not like I'm gonna pour my heart and soul into this organization. I don't like the WCA sometimes. I like the WCA sometimes. I can have it both ways. That's okay. As in the NFL, maybe you like the NFL sometimes. Maybe you hate the refs or Roger Goodell or whatever. But you have spurts of that, and that will happen naturally as an organization. So that's kind of like
yeah.
saying the NFL is a monopoly. Like people don't hate it or feel like they're being manipulated by it. So it's not a monopoly. But I don't know. Maybe I'm going on a bit of a tangent there.
Yeah, monopoly is not the right term, but it is like the only option
Yeah,
until
relatively.
until now,
Yeah,
potentially, if this doesn't fail.
I think there was two ways this could have gone. They would announce it now, and if it were to be successful, though, it would directly compete with the WCA, and I think I'm a little bit scared about that because yes, it's good in the sense that the PSL and WCA would now be vying for attention, so they'll be funding more. Maybe making more of the competitor and the spectator experience better, but at the same time, they're also vying for your attention. So they're going to do crazy things, to try to get viewers hooked. They're going to do crazy things to try to get competitors hooked. And that's the fear I have if we have two competing leagues directly. What could have also happened was maybe we saw a steady decline in the WCA. Not saying that it's on the decline, but maybe for some reason in the next 5 years there would be a decline. And then when people were unsatisfied with the WCA, I think the PSL would have maybe thrived better, because I'm not seeing overwhelming positive support. I mean, I am, but at the same time, I am seeing a lot of mixed reviews. Like on Suki's video, most of the stuff there is positive, which is to be expected because he put it in a positive light. But the neutral post that was posted on CF asking about the opinions on the PSL, I saw a lot of mixed reactions. I saw a lot of concerns. I saw people who really liked it. I saw people who really hated it. So you have all that combined, and it's just, you kind of wonder what's going to happen if both the WCA are thriving and the PSL are thriving. Well, there can only be one, so what are we going to do?
Yeah, that does make sense. As in, like, it would have made more sense to announce this at a different time when there was maybe a lull in competition excitement. But like at the moment, everyone is hyped for Worlds with every new world record that happens. Like,
I also find it weird. I think this is just more of an observational standpoint, but Speedcubing TV is also live streaming Worlds. I find that a little maybe kind of weird that they're also the PSL. They're kind of double dipping.
Maybe a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is a sense of Speedcubing TV is a partner of PSL.
That's true. Speedcubing TV
they had to win a bid for Worlds. But yeah, I think maybe this is a strange time to announce it.
For sure, a little bit.
And the other thing is, like, long run, like you were talking, like in the next 5 years or something. I feel like are there even enough, experienced cubers that can like help staff or delegate such competitions that don't already do so for WCA? I feel like there would be a confliction there if there was a delegate that wanted to help out with PSL as well, potentially.
Well,
I mean, there's no restrictions from WCA for what you can and can't do with another league, but just a time.
What would really suck is that would be if like you could only compete in one league or the other. Like I know some leagues do that in other sports. That would really suck. That would kill cubing.
I don't think that would happen because I don't think the top cubers would even agree to that. Even if they really enjoyed PSL, having the opportunity to be national champion, world champion, get world records is just too good to pass up. So
I think the other problem with this, like why I feel like this decision is maybe jumping the gun a little too much. I like that term a lot, but maybe I should say like it was announced early, was because like we already have so many problems with the WCA. But we're having problems that feel fixable, like staffing.
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing like absolutely major. Since sliding, there hasn't really been something that crazy that's happened. But yeah, it is stuff like staffing and just short-handed in many regions of competitions and stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe another point I want to bring up, maybe a couple of the last points is people are comparing this to Monkey League a lot. And I want to make the distinction between an official competition and unofficial competition, and why you would go to either one of them. So with an official competition, that's WCA competitions. The WCA was actually created, ironically, because they didn't agree with the Guinness World Records rulings and stuff. They didn't agree they wanted to create something standardized that all cubers could follow. So they kind of deviated from what was originally being record kept. And then Guinness, I guess, eventually kind of partnered with them. And now all WCA World Records are Guinness World Records. That's done. So that's the official competition. An unofficial competition, like Monkey League, is something where your times aren't recorded on the database. You will never have a true Guinness World Record because it wasn't done in an official competition. With that being
Right.
said, though, people are kind of saying this like I'm kind of confused about like it's some argument with Monkey League where they're like, oh, Monkey League is better, or they're trying to, or I guess not, I shouldn't say that, they're trying to make like apples to apples comparisons, but both are made in like very different times. Monkey League was created out of
Yeah.
COVID. None of the competitors would oh, that's what it was. They say that this could thrive because it's similar to Monkey League, and I don't think that's inherently true.
Oh.
Monkey League was made out of COVID. There were no competitions at all, not even on Sundays or Saturdays. There was you like the joke I made there. Um
That's stupid.
it was online, so anyone from around the world could compete. You only had to convince like maybe like 8 people to do it. And even so, a lot of them actually wanted to do it. I think all of them wanted to do it. I don't think anyone was like, okay, fine, I'll compete in Monkey League, I guess. And it was like Philip's job. I'm pretty sure he put a lot of effort into that. Not saying that like I don't think there's been an unofficial competition that has come close to Monkey League, but that's also just because of the unprecedented setting of COVID. Because obviously, like if you have nothing else to do, maybe if Monkey League was created in 2025 now, I don't think it would thrive as well. It would be interesting. It wouldn't have the same cultural effect that it's had in recent years when people talk about Monkey League. But all right, let's consider all that. It's very small, but it's online based, so you can appeal to a wider audience. Now you go to the PSL. Yes, the matches are head to head. The format is still the same. But now you have to convince 64 people from all across the world who have to go to one location. And then after that, you have to convince an audience of people from around the surrounding area to, convince them to actually show up at the event. So, you gave money
Rather
on
than
spectator
just
fees.
watch the live stream.
Rather than just watch the live
Yeah.
stream. But there's also counter to it because there's a free live stream on YouTube. My worst fear is that live stream is going to be blocked by a paywall, which would really suck. But
I don't think they can.
that's a new like live stream discussion. Should keeping live streams have a paywall? As a live streaming company, I think the answer as of right now and probably for the next 5 years is no. Yeah, we're not paywalling anyone.
No.
At least for the base content. The other option I have, the other problem with that is that you have to appeal to the in-person audience. You have to appeal to the the competitor audience, and now you have to appeal to them staying there because the competition is from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Do you expect all of those people to stay there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.? With online competitions, you can, maybe just watch it from your phone, your bed. You can relax. You can maybe watch it. You can eat dinner. You can watch it there. But now you have to hold their attention for as long as possible until they decide to leave. It's so many different dynamics, but I think that's more of a misunderstanding from the audience rather than the organizers. I think the organizers do understand that difference. I don't think they're necessarily profiting off of the format, which actually that's not true. I think they are profiting off of the format, yes, but they're also taking the other stuff into consideration with, the spectator fees, whatever. Even if the execution, in my opinion, isn't necessarily stuff I agree with. But yeah, I want to kind of hear your thoughts about that.
So, I think, I mean, it's much of what I've already said, I feel like, even in this sort of area, but I think getting 64 people to go wouldn't be too much of a problem just because there are, a lot of people excited about this, and 64 is not a large number.
I actually disagree. I think 64 is a pretty big number.
Okay, considering that Worlds is 2,000 people and so many people that wanted to go didn't go, and I haven't been to a local competition with less than 64 people since like a PBQ.
But
Like,
also, let's
I
consider like the target audience here. Is the target audience all world class cubers? If it's all world class cubers, then that's a
that's the
very
thing.
big number. So I'm
Like,
confused in that area.
there's looping back to what I said about like chess tournaments where they invite the top people. They like invite the top I don't know 20 or 30 or maybe even 50. Like I think it would make more sense to invite the people who will be competing to be like the top 64 3x3 solvers in the world or something like that. And then you still have the spectator passes for the people who are not you know, I think the idea of competing being public is what I'm getting to. I guess the idea of competing being public doesn't quite fit this format.
Okay. I
But
kind of want to go
I'm not
back on
sure.
the fact that we're inviting where chess tournaments invite people to go, but here with this league, it feels like we're treating competitors as customers. It feels like because we give them the cube
Right.
mat, we give them the red carpet photo or whatever that is, we give them the meet and greet. We're treating them as customers, which tells me that th- I feel like I should be paid to go there, if that's what makes sense.
But
I don't
like
think it should be the
maybe
other way
that's
around.
where the idea of like the convention is coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is all the added experiences besides just competing. But then I think that distinction needs to be more clear, like you said, among both the audience
is
and
is your
actual
customer
investors.
the competitor or is it the spectator? And I think they're trying to double dip here with both, which it's very confusing in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea, of course, is very entertaining, and if I was just in my dorm, like doing nothing, just watching like YouTube or whatever, then I would put on a PSL stream to
Yeah.
watch
Me
the
too.
the people compete. 100%. I mean, I think it will be entertaining, and I think it's a good idea for to try and start something besides just the WCA that will like continue. Because I mean, Red Bull that was 100% gonna be just like a one-time thing. I think we all kind of got that idea.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't going to be a reoccurring competitions. I mean, Red Bull doesn't really do that. So I think having something that is reoccurring and like, of course, eventually opening it up to more regions besides California and Michigan could lead to a large growth.
Do you think this is like Red Bull? Do you think it's going to thrive or do you think it's going to maybe phase out in the next couple of
I
years?
don't think this is right like Red Bull. Red Bull was bizarre in my
That was,
opinion.
yeah.
Like not just for like the format, but like the events that
It
they
got a
had. Didn't they
lot
have
of
like
criticism. Like
reverse the
more than
scramble
this
or something
project.
and stuff like that? And I don't know. It was just a bit messy, and I I forget. Was it even live streams?
I think a couple of them were. I know there's a lot of
Okay,
commercial attention to it, like with the Wire Brothers and like that. Oh my God, it's a 0.001 or whatever. Like remember that?
right.
Uh,
Um, yeah. I think when people who don't cube come and try to do competitions,
it's doomed to
it's
fail. Yeah,
doomed to fail. But I mean, these are experienced keepers. I mean, PSL has some of the
that's
best
true.
keepers behind it, or media people in cubing media behind it. So I think they are like I don't think they're stupid.
That's a pretty strong word, but okay, yeah.
I don't think they're stupid. They're very smart about what they're doing, and
Of
I mean the
course they
website
are.
looks
Yeah,
very clean and it's very organized. I think we just need a little bit more information in a lot of areas.
me too. So let's try to summarize everything as we sort of end this episode. Yeah. So this is like I think we're gonna have no cuts here. It's a very raw episode today, but I kind of want to condense it all down. I I'm going to admit I think I do. This conversation helped me understand what I am expecting from the PSL, but I feel like I do have more concerns than things to look out for. Like, call me crazy, but I feel a little bit pessimistic about this. I
Mm.
I think it's good in the sense that this is a signal of the growth of cubing. It's not like we're stuck with the WCA. Not saying that the WCA was bad or good, but just saying that maybe we have another option to look into, because I think everyone in the community is looking to expand cubing into something bigger. Actually, that's not true. Maybe I think they want to transform cubing, whether it's maybe even condensing it down, maybe even increasing it. Everyone wants to do it a different way. So this is like the first test guinea pig run opportunity. I want to make a crazy prediction right now.
Mm.
I think, I mean, I hate to say it because I know people involved with this event and I really don't want them to fail. But I think this is going to maybe phase out. But it will be innovation for someone else later down the line, maybe 2 or 3 years, to start it up again, and maybe do a second try, maybe do a redo of some of the maybe some of the mistakes they may make in this theoretical situation. I think that's what's going to happen.
I think that I think at the very least the first competition will go well because this will be hyped up. But I think the most interesting thing will be to see like the live stream viewership for the next competition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, no, no,
if
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
not higher, then it's concerning. In some sense,
The novelty
once
will
we're to
wear
the
off.
company.
I think it's
I
inevitable.
like it's something I want to succeed. Because that would be cool.
It would be very
At the end
cool.
of the day, it would just be cool.
Look,
But
like, I'm sorry to pause for you there, but like,
no, it's fine.
I think just the in general, for anyone watching right now thinking like, wow, these guys are a bunch of losers, they're just hating on this cool new Speedkeeping League. We want this to succeed. This is actually good for our
Yes,
company, because then we
this
can
is
do
cool.
more stuff with cubing instead of the average of five format, which again is flawed. I didn't really go into why, but it's confusing to non-spectators or to non-cubers. It's confusing because it may not be fair, as Timo sort of explained it in that one video. Stuff like that. That's why I don't like the average of five format in certain cases. But I think for what we have right now, it's fair. Anyway, tangent over. Will, go back to what you were saying. If
No,
you,
it's just
yeah,
we want this to do well. Where we of course are trying to be critical because it's just in our nature to talk about things in both a light and a more negative way. But I
yeah.
don't think that should steer anyone watching's opinion. I hope you guys are more informed about the league. But yeah,
Because I think all of the content I've seen around it is extremely positive. It's either put out by Speedkeeping TV themselves or StuCube, which put it in a very positive light, which I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. Like, you're entitled to your own opinion. You're entitled to believe that that league is the future, and you can put your full heart into it. But me personally, I have reservations about the league itself, and
right.
that's
And
totally
yeah,
okay.
and like I said, I wanted to succeed, but also I'm not so sure this is something that I would ever really participate in or compete in, just because of my own personal philosophy about competing that I explained earlier. That's just my own opinion. But I also, if the pricing were to stay the same, and like there was like a Virginia competition or something like that, I would still have reservations.
If it were in New Jersey, I'll make a deal. If they come to New Jersey, I will go to one competition at least. I will probably just buy a spectator pass. I will probably just walk around, see what it's about, and then I'll make the decision whether to
Yeah.
come back or not. I'll make you that deal, PSL. Okay, if you're watching this, I will. If you come to New Jersey, I will go to your competition, but only maybe that one. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll love it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Um, yeah.
Oh, just one more thought actually that I just had
Mhm.
was like if you're paying to compete and you get knocked out like very early on, then I feel like that's not bang for your buck. Like
It's
you get to compete, like it's double elimination, so you get to compete twice.
that's on some of them it's single
But
elimination, some of them are double elimination, so it's a little
oh, okay.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like as someone who is not good at 3x3, I wouldn't see it as worth it to compete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think it would be. I don't love that format. I yeah, I really do. As we kind of progress, I'm kind of looking back on what I said. I'm like, wow, okay, maybe I am being a little bit too harsh on these guys, but I really am concerned about cubing. We're doing this because we love cubing enough to be concerned about it. It's good that people aren't just there are people that are backing this with their with their hearts and their chest, but there's also people that have there's mixed there's a spectrum basically. It's better than having everyone blindly follow the crowd and really love this league. I'm seeing opposition, but it's also good seeing that there's it's not all opposition. Like everyone is so quick to hate this. There's a good balance. And when we share those opinions, it shows that us as a community are well informed. Really, and we really do care about what's best, not only for our own interests, which are inherent, but for the interest of just the community in general, of cubing as a sport, or maybe even not a sport if you don't believe in that. So I thought it was very important to make this podcast episode just to, be that voice for maybe people who don't feel as if this is the future, which, fine. Yeah, go ahead with it because you're entitled to your own opinion. We're entitled to our opinions too. We've expressed them within this episode. Stu Cube has expressed his opinion, and obviously the PSL organizers have expressed their opinion very loudly that they believe this is the future of cubing. So
It'd be concerning if it is. They said,
yeah, if they thought the complete opposite, I would. That's awful. No.
like, hey, we have this thing, but like, it's probably not gonna work.
Hey, we have this. I signed up for this. Jet skiing class, but I don't actually know how to swim. So, yeah,
I don't know, that's a strange comparison, but yeah.
it's not. It wasn't a good comparison. No, I was just trying to be funny. All right. I think we can end it off here. Thank you guys for watching. We'll go back to the normal episodes in 2 weeks, I promise, if you guys didn't like this episode. I hope the retention rate's still high. If you're still watching this video, go comment. I used the SeatGeek code in the comments right now.
Code SeatGeek. Code SeatGeek at ClickyStudios.com.
Code ClickyStudios at SeatGeek.com for up to $20 off your first purchase. Thank you guys for watching so much. We'll catch you on the next Monday because, as always, there are no comps on Mondays. We'll see you then.